My name is Dr. Sean George, and in 2008, I died.
In 2008, in a hospital in Western Australia, something happened that no one in that room would ever forget. A man who was a respected doctor, a husband, and a father was declared dead. His body was cold. His heart had stopped, and every monitor in the room had gone silent. For 1 hour and 25 minutes, he lay there lifeless. Every attempt to bring him back had failed. The medical team, made up of some of his closest colleagues, had done everything possible. They shocked him with the defibrillator again and again. They pumped his chest until their arms were sore. They filled his veins with every medication available. But the flat line on the monitor never changed. By every medical standard, he was gone. He was a doctor himself, and he knew the truth better than anyone. A human brain cannot survive without oxygen for more than a few minutes. After 4 to 6 minutes, brain cells begin to die. After 10 minutes, the damage is usually permanent. After 20 minutes, survival without severe disability is almost impossible. Yet, in this case, the clock ticked past 20 minutes, then 40, then more than an hour, still nothing. For 85 long minutes, he had no pulse, no breath, no sign of life. Doctors stood back, exhausted, hearts heavy with sorrow. They knew they had to let go. But then, something happened. His wife entered the room. Her heart had been breaking on the drive to the hospital. She had been praying desperately, asking God not to take her husband from her. When she arrived, she was told what no wife ever wants to hear. "I'm sorry. We did everything we could." She was led to the room where her husband lay motionless. Machines were quiet. The staff had already stepped back. But instead of collapsing in grief, she dropped to her knees beside him. She placed her hands on his still body, tears streaming down her face, and whispered one simple prayer: "Lord Jesus, give him back to me." In that exact moment, everything changed. The flat line on the monitor moved a single beat, then another. Slowly, a rhythm returned where none had been for nearly an hour and a half. Doctors who had already given up stood frozen in shock. Nurses gasped. Some whispered under their breath, "That's impossible." But it was real. The man who had been gone for 85 minutes was alive again. His chest rose and fell. His pulse grew stronger. The silence of the room was broken by the steady beeping of life. This man's name was Dr. Sean George, and his story has been called one of the most remarkable modern-day miracles ever recorded. What makes it even more powerful is that he was not just any patient. He was a doctor himself, a man of science, a man who knew exactly what should have happened to him. By every fact, by every law of biology, he should not have survived, and yet he did. Not only did he come back to life, but he came back fully, restored, no brain damage, no loss of memory, no disability. His mind was clear, his body strong, his heart beating. To understand how extraordinary this was, you need to know who Dr. George was before this moment. He was born in India, raised in a family that valued both education and faith. From a young age, he felt a calling to heal. That calling led him to pursue medicine. He became a respected physician, specializing in internal medicine, the field that deals with the most complex and life-threatening conditions. His work took him eventually to Australia, where he lived with his wife and family. Colleagues described him as calm, steady, deeply dedicated to his patients, and quietly committed to his Christian faith. Like many doctors, he respected faith, but believed firmly in science. He trusted facts, evidence, and what could be measured. He had seen many patients die in his care, and he had declared death countless times. He knew the reality. When a heart stops, the body shuts down. Without oxygen, the brain is gone in minutes. This was not theory to him. This was what he lived every day as a doctor. What he did not know, however, was that one day he would face those same cold facts in his own body. It was October 24th, 2008, a warm day in Western Australia. Sean was traveling for work, driving along the highway as he often did. He was thinking ahead to his patients, to his responsibilities, perhaps even to seeing his wife and children later that evening. But then, out of nowhere, he felt a crushing pressure in his chest. Pain radiated down his arm. Breathing became hard. As a doctor, he recognized the symptoms instantly. He was having a massive heart attack. His car swerved to the side of the road. Passersby rushed to help. Calling emergency services, paramedics arrived quickly. When they saw who it was, they were stunned. This was not a stranger. This was Dr. George, their colleague, their friend. They worked with even more determination. They gave chest compressions. They shocked him with the defibrillator. They pumped medications into his veins. But nothing worked. His heart refused to start. He was rushed to the hospital, where teams of doctors and nurses continued the fight. They shocked him again and again. They pushed adrenaline and epinephrine. They compressed his chest without stopping. But the monitor never changed. 10 minutes passed, then 20, then 40. At this point, most medical teams would have stopped. The reality is harsh but true. No one comes back after that much time, and if they do, the brain is usually gone. But the team refused to give up, perhaps because he was one of their own. They pushed on for 85 minutes, longer than most medical textbooks even allow for. But finally, they had to stop. His body was cold. His pupils were fixed. His chest no longer moved. They stepped back, heartbroken. He was gone. It was in that quiet, hopeless moment that his wife entered. Imagine her world at that time. Imagine rushing through hospital doors, terrified but still holding on to hope, only to be told your husband is dead. Most would collapse in grief, but she refused to let go. She walked into that room, went to his bedside, and prayed aloud. Her words were not long or complicated. They were not polished or rehearsed. They were simple and desperate. Lord Jesus, give him back to me. What happened next shook everyone present. At the very moment she spoke those words, his heart restarted. No doctor touched him. No machine was on. No medicine was flowing. It was as if life itself returned at the command of that prayer. His chest began to rise and fall again. His pulse grew stronger. His skin warmed. The impossible had just happened. Doctors and nurses could hardly believe it. They looked at one another in disbelief. Some said quietly, "This is not science. This is something else." Others admitted they had no words. They had seen many patients die, but never this. Never a man gone for 85 minutes come back, not only alive, but whole. Science has no explanation. The truth is simple. Dr. George's brain should have been destroyed. After 4 minutes without oxygen, brain damage begins. After 10 minutes, recovery is almost impossible. After 20 minutes, the chances of survival are almost zero. But he had no heartbeat for 85 minutes. That is 14 times longer than the limit. And yet, when he woke up, he was perfectly clear. No damage at all. It was not just survival. It was restoration. Even years later, doctors who hear his case shake their heads. Some admit they are unsettled because it challenges everything they know. Others call it a miracle outright. Even those who are not religious cannot deny it was extraordinary. It happened in front of too many witnesses. It was written in medical records. It was real. When Sean himself eventually awoke, he had no memory of what happened during those 85 minutes. He did not see lights or visions. He remembered nothing, but he remembered waking up to a room of astonished faces and to the tear-streaked smile of his wife. For him, the answer was clear. Medicine had not saved him. Machines had not saved him. It was Jesus who gave him back his life. From that day forward, his life was changed. He continued to practice medicine, but he also began to share his testimony. He told people everywhere what had happened to him. He said again and again, "I know science. I know what death means. I was gone for 1 hour and 25 minutes. My brain should have been destroyed, but here I am. There is only one explanation. Jesus Christ brought me back." His story spread quickly. Churches invited him to speak. People wanted to hear firsthand what had happened. Audiences wept as they listened. Families facing sickness or grief found new hope. Even skeptics who did not believe admitted they could not explain away what had happened. Some wanted to know if the church had officially investigated his case. It had not. His miracle was not part of an official process. But for Sean, that did not matter. He did not need an investigation. He knew the truth because he had lived it. What makes his testimony so powerful is not only the miracle itself, but also who he is. He is not just a patient telling an emotional story. He is a doctor, a man trained to trust in science, a man who had declared death many times in his own career. He understood exactly what should have happened to him, and yet he became the exception. That makes his voice different. It carries weight because he knows both sides, the science of medicine and the mystery of faith.